Arg! Writer's block.
What's the problem?
I need the right wave quote to tell people about our February 28th auction, Making Waves.
Maybe I can help. What do you have so far?
Well, so far, okay. Life is a wave, which in no two consecutive moments of its existence is composed of the same particles.
Nope, too metaphysical.
Okay. A wave isn't like a skate ramp or mountain. Everything's moving around, and you have to have time to move along with it. Better?
No! What does this have to do with raising money, building community, and throwing a great party?
All right. How about this? A huge wave has magic, and when it hits you with a punch effect, well, life is just like that, a giant wave, both fascinating and shocking.
That's more like it. Maybe just a little snappier, something with a little more punch.
Okay. Have an anchor so that life doesn't toss you around.
Well, the church is a kind of anchor for many of us. Keep going.
There's no way to move without making waves.
This church makes waves. All of us who participate in church activities make waves.
Sometimes you just have to go with the wave.
Perfect. Follow the waves over to our auction table after the service to find how you can donate and volunteer for this once-a-year extravaganza.
And remember, if you don't make waves, you're not kicking hard enough. Thank you.
Thank you, auction team. Good morning. My name is Kristen Hartman. My pronouns are she, her, and I have been entrusted with the honor of serving on your board of trustees. I'm a tall, white, fat, femme millennial with green hair and blue eyes. Today I'm wearing a black shirt and a diamond-patterned skirt. Our speakers provide visual descriptions to welcome people with visual impairments and those listening online. We're excited to be in community with you today. Please take a moment to silence your cell phones and move to a seat in the middle of your section if you can, to leave aisle seats open for those with accessibility needs. Thank you. If you're visiting for the first time, please stop by the welcome table out in the gallery to pick up a visitor gift with more information about our community. Look for the Getting to Know UU sign in Beach Hall after the service to learn more about our congregation. And everyone is welcome to come chat with me or another board member, identified by nifty maroon ribbons, after the service. There is a lot going on here at First UU. Please see the order of service, handy dandy visual aid, or this week's Sunday announcement email where you can read details. I now invite Carrie Hicks and David Merrill to come speak at the pulpit from the heart.
Okay. Hello. My name is Dave Merrill, he, him. I'm a white millennial male with short hair and a mustache. I'm not a natural to religion. I was raised Episcopalian with a professor parent, color me skeptical when it came to the spiritual stuff. And as a young man, I went to war, and any semblance of God I had seeped into the desert sand. COVID-19, of all things, broke me free from cold cynicism. Aghast by the suffering of those around me and disheartened by the indifference of others, I learned I was all about the we and not the me. And with that came a drive to do more. My wife, Carrie, and I decided to pursue spiritual and religious development to become intentionally community-minded. And we initially found First UU through the annual rummage sale. And I can't remember if we bought anything, actually, but the seed was planted. And so when we started looking for places of worship, First UU was high on the list. And as a father of a young child, it was especially important that our values aligned. And First UU is a place that practices love and acceptance, that celebrates independence and intelligence. And after attending our first service, we knew we found the spot. I adore that Unitarian Universalism is both a faith and a practice, that this church and this community is so varied with endless ways to get involved. My daughter went to Peace Camp, and she's an owl as I speak right now, and the music is a treat, and I get something out of every service, even if that something is unexpected. My wife and I love making breakfast. We're on the 4th Sunday team this year, and although I'm biased, I gotta say that Carrie makes some fantastic eggs, so please come and join us. It'll be next week. Egan's there too, he's great. We can't be First UU without you. Thank you for being here, in person or online, and making this community what it is today for all of us. And if you're willing and able, I'd ask you to directly support First UU. Your contributions not only pay for staff salaries and building upkeep, but for the ability of the church to aid others. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. My name is Carrie Hicks, and my pronouns are she, her. I am a white woman in the latter half of my 30s with brown hair, and today I'm wearing a mauve long dress with a black flowy top over it. Like many of us, I grew up in the Christian church. Though my family was not strongly religious, the community of the Epworth United Methodist Church of Indianapolis brought significant value to my life. I particularly loved youth group, where we could engage in frank conversations. Despite this, as a teenager, I began questioning the more logistical aspects of Christian dogma. I couldn't fathom that a loving and righteous God would turn babies away from heaven simply because they hadn't been baptized. And no matter how many adults tried and failed to explain how the Holy Trinity worked, I just couldn't make sense of it. So in my late teens and early 20s, I left religiosity and spirituality behind. With nothing to replace it with, my departure from Christianity left behind a void of understanding. And over the next 15 or so years, I went on a journey to discover answers. As a young adult, I tried on many philosophies: existentialism, Buddhism, nihilism, all the isms you could ever ask for. And from each perspective, I did find helpful insights. Despite this experimentation, nothing ever quite filled the void. When David and I's paths intersected, we found that we met on merging trails marching in the same direction. Both of us were working on becoming better people, a project that is still and will forever be ongoing. Searching for belonging and betterment, we concluded that we had to discover our community, and so we started searching. I remembered Unitarian Universalism from my years of discovery, and we had a great time at the rummage sale, so we took a leap of faith and we began attending. The community of the church immediately resonated with us. I remember that we were greeted by David Carr at the door, and Dana came over to chat with us on our very first day. And at our first visit, we felt that we had found our people. We immediately began finding ways to learn more about Unitarian Universalism and to get more involved. First UU really helped me reorient my perspective from the individual to the greater whole. I found a sense of purpose in community activism. During the early months attending First UU, I was inspired by the impact and religious plurality demonstrated at a Bread annual assembly. I had shown up to protests and volunteered before, but as the darkness enveloped our country, I felt called to do more and became an organizer. And there's always a streak of yellow shirts at every protest, and that makes me very happy. The beautiful thing about being part of a community like this is that for every ounce you give, you get that back tenfold in joy and meaning. We love spaghetti dinners on First Fridays and the breezeway picnics in the summer. You can't miss those. We volunteer at the rummage sale and started serving breakfast between services once a month. Beyond providing belonging, Unitarian Universalism taught me that practicing religions happens outside the pews as well as within. To put it succinctly, First UU helped me realize that while I may not be a Christian, I am a follower of Christ. Maintaining a church community like ours requires that we all have a stake in its success. All of this is made possible by your gifts of time, talent, and treasure. These help the congregation be a a liberal religious presence here in Central Ohio, and provide support for so many. One of the ways people share their treasure is by setting up recurring donations to First UU as they help provide an ongoing funding system. This is possible through firstuucolumbus.org/donate or at the table outside in the gallery. Thank you for being a part of this congregation and helping it to flourish and thrive. Please rise in body or in spirit to sing Gather the Spirit, number 347 in the gray hymnal.
Our trials in this light appear all the same. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength. Gather to celebrate once again. Gather the spirit of heart and mind. Seeds for the sowing are laid in store. Nurtured in love and conscience refined. With body and spirit resounding as one. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength. Gather to celebrate once again. Gather the Spirit growing in awe, drawn by the moon and fed by the sun. Winter to spring and summer to fall, the chorus of life resounding as one. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength. Gather to celebrate once again.
Good morning. My name is Claire Freed. I use she, her pronouns. I'm so happy to be with you all this morning. I'm dressed in a burgundy sweater and dark blue pants, and we're doing the land acknowledgement. We gather on the stolen land of the Wyandotte, Miami, Seneca, Erie, Shawnee, Delaware, and Cayuga people, many of whom were forcibly removed. We support the Native American Indian Center of Central Ohio in their Land Back campaign. And we know that we have more to do to be in true relationship and solidarity with this land and those indigenous to it.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Kelly McNeil. My pronouns are she, her, and I serve as your Minister of Congregational Life. I am a white woman in her later 30s with long purple hair, and I am wearing a pink dress and a rainbow stained glass stole. Our opening reading this morning is entitled First Comes Waiting, written by Erica Hewitt. This is the season of endings and beginnings, when the small signs of dawn pierce through the night and something new is born. But first comes the waiting. First comes the lessons of endings and beginnings. The presence of life, the sheltering spirit of love, grieves with those sweeping up the debris of loss, waits with those who restlessly reach out for change, grants us courage in the night to guard each other's dreams for this holy, wondrous universe. Grant us, O universe unfolding in mystery, a sense of your timing. May we loosen our grip on that which doesn't serve us, leaving behind that which we have outworn and outgrown. Teach us the lessons of beginnings. Remind us that such waitings and endings may be a starting place, a planting of seeds which bring to birth what is ready to be born, something right and just and different, a new song, a deeper relationship, a fuller love in the fullness of time. Now let us enter into the spirit of worship. It is now time for our children to meet Gus back in the back to prepare to bring in the light. Everyone else, please turn to your neighbors and introduce yourselves. It is now time for our children to bring in the light.
Our chalice lighting this morning is Into Many Coming Years by Mary Sheldon. We cannot know what all the year may bring. And would we heed the prophecy if we could? Bright flame, awake, send forth your shining light beyond this year into the many coming. Show us the ways of love and help and care, of justice, mercy, equality. Illuminate unto the generations. Show to the world a beacon of safe harbor. Help us to find the kindred warmth within us and among us to help make it so.
Good morning. Thank you, Annie, for your help lighting our chalice this morning. I'm Amber Scott, your Director of Religious Exploration, and my pronouns are she, they. I'm a white femme millennial with wild and wonderful wavy hair. Today's story is called Fire Shapes the World, written by Joanna Cook and illustrated by Cornelia Lee and Diana Renzina. Deep in the wilderness, a fire smolders. It creeps in yellow and crimson bursts, flaring as the wind shifts, transforming the forest around it. What is fire? Fire is light and flame and heat. It requires something to ignite, oxygen, like an inhale, and a spark. It has both the power to destroy and the power to create. Fire is a cosmic connection to the sun that blaze in the sky, a reminder of stars and galaxies, of energy and elements radiating through space. Our planet burns too. The oldest known wildfire smoldered 420 million years ago. That's right, fire on Earth has a birthday. After that first fire, the world slowly changed. At first, it became drier. Ferns dwindled as new plants came into being, trees with thick bark and flowering shrubs filling the spaces opened by flames. More fires burned. Animals had to adapt too, by burrowing, diving, fleeing the heat, by eating new plants. The world kept changing, drying and cooling, wetting and heating, and fires kept burning. Life as we know it evolved with fire. For people long ago, fire meant more than survival. It was ritual, bonding them together, sharing stories, tending a flame. Tending a flame to care for the land. Now, fire is this: a wailing siren, a home charged to the frame, a town uniting. Fire is also this: an opening pine cone, a seed released onto warm ash, a fireweed sprouting, a beetle drawn by smoke and heat, depositing eggs inside blaze-softened trees. A woodpecker, also drawn by smoke and heat, arrives soon after to eat the larvae that emerge. It's a campfire, now cool and damp, and a wildland fire carefully tended. As fires around the world come and go, people will continue living with them by understanding fires past and fires present, by adapting. For fire is as essential as sunlight and rain, as fundamental to our life as the air we breathe. Somewhere on earth, a fire smolders. Witness its smoke and glow and power. Fire shaped our world, and together we will change the future. The End. Even now, fire continues to shape our world. Today, as we ponder the meaning of a new year, may we let it change us for the better. Please remain seated with hands over your hearts as we sing Find a Stillness, verse 1, number 352 in your gray hymnal, to sing our beloved children back to their families and out to class.
Find a stillness, hold a stillness, let the stillness carry me. Find the silence, hold the silence, let the silence carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power, I will find true harmony.
In the month of January, we will be dedicating our donations to the Bottoms Up Diaper Bank. This morning, we have Joe Welsh, founder of Bottoms Up Diaper Drive, which delivers diapers to over 70 food pantries and child care facilities in Central Ohio, including First UU's own Feed and Read Ohio. Welcome, Joe.
Thank you so much. I think this is maybe my fourth year speaking, and I didn't notice my parking sign out there. I just wanted to let you know that I don't know where it is, but anyway. We so appreciate you having us here. I'm a white female, gray hair, nearly 70 years old, wearing black and white top and black pants today. So yes, thanks again, and I always look forward to this. It's a little different tradition than I'm used to, but it's always welcoming, and everyone's so kind and just so energetic for helping others. So I really appreciate that. At Bottoms Up, we care. We care about moms and dads that are struggling to make ends meet, just struggling to get through the day. We've had a dad call and the day before Thanksgiving and say, I don't have any diapers, and I just picked up my 2 boys. He had them for the weekend. He said, I've been to the grocery, just got off work. Now I'm headed home and I need some diapers. So he stopped by the office, which is not normally what we do. We distribute to our partners. But he stopped by and gave him the diapers. But I think more importantly for him, he said, could you give me a hug? So that day I was a grandma. I felt like a grandma giving this young man a hug because he just needed a little bit to get through the weekend. So that's what we're called to do, all of us, but luckily for me, I get to see that firsthand. I had a mom call me and say, I spent my diaper money to renew my driver's license. And it really reminded me that it's been a while since I've put that in my budget, that I had to remember to renew my driver's license. And here this young lady had a need for diapers because she'd spent her diaper money on her driver's license, and probably all of us are thinking, well, that's not that big a deal, right? I mean, look at me, my age, I don't think about that anymore, but for her, it was just a time of struggle, so we were able to help her out. A dad that called on New Year's Day and needed diapers. He and his wife aren't getting paid till, he said, literally the next day. So he needed diapers and formula, and Tim and I went and bought formula, and I haven't bought formula for a while, and that was really shocking how much formula costs. Of course, we could give him diapers, so we delivered diapers. Again, it's not something we do, but he had nowhere else to go. No place was open on New Year's Day to give diapers, a food pantry, or anything like that. So it's always very, just very humbling for me to get to do that. I don't get to see the moms and dads we serve, but when someone calls and needs, and you probably are all like that, somebody calls and needs, you just do it, right? And Jacques was sharing with me, just a mom came and needed diapers because she couldn't afford the diapers because she's trying to keep her car on the road. So that's a story we hear where people are just trying to keep it all together, right? And it may be something that we experienced and then we grew through that, but there are still folks that need us. And that's why we do what we do. We don't give everybody everything they need, of course, but we do try to help those families when they call. And having said all that, those are, the stats are a little bit higher now. We distributed 1.6 million diapers in 2025. And yes, praise God. We have almost 90 partners now, and we're serving 28 counties. That's about a third of the state of Ohio. So we are definitely feel blessed that we can do what we do. And really the poor, those living below the poverty line, those children, their developmental markers are delayed because, just of maybe food or insecurity and all the things that go along with that. So they're walking, they're talking, and they're reading. It's all delayed because of just because of the circumstances. And along with that is potty training. So we have this year in 2025, we started giving out potty training kits to help those moms and dads just get over that hump and get those kids going to the potty. Because if any of you have potty trained, it's not easy. Nobody, some of them don't want to go and they fight you. But if you'd like to join us, we'd love that. We do the World's Largest Diaper Drive every year in May. That's a good way to help us deliver, count, pick up, whatever you can do. That would be awesome. Volunteer in any way. Spread the word about what we do. If you see our things on social media, follow us there and share those out on Facebook and Instagram. And donate. Of course, we don't do this, we don't get things for free, so we'd love your support in that regard, whether it's a one-time or you can even sign up to be a monthly donor if you'd like, and I have cards out back and you can talk to my husband, Tim. I keep pointing to him, that guy. He's the one that got me into this. But we'll be out and you can ask questions afterwards. Just to put a pin in Jacques, not literally, but we've delivered over 14,000 diapers to Jacques so he can help the folks that he helps. So we are grateful for our partnership with him and grateful for all of you, again, for letting me come back and ramble up here for the fourth time. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Joe, for all of the important work that you do and for joining us this morning. In addition to passing the basket, you can text to give, scan the QR code, or visit firstucolumbus.org/donate. Thank you for your generosity. Today's pastoral listener is Kathleen Fowler. Kathleen's back there. If you have something on your mind or heart today, Kathleen will be in Beach Hall after the service and will be happy to listen. We have 4 caring cards for you all to sign in Beach Hall after worship as we thank Brandon, Michaela, Nathan, and Aaron for the amazing music program that they and their choirs presented last week. And now, as we enter into our time of meditation and prayer, let us hold space for the complexity of feelings that we all might be bringing into this space this morning. After a week that both breaks and fires up our hearts, we hold space now for all of those currently being terrorized by the inhumane and unjust actions of a nation that is supposed to be built on freedom and justice. For all those terrorized by ICE, whether their experiences and horror were caught on camera or their names and faces have never been given media attention. For a promise and a future that was promised and ripped away, we take a moment now to remember that we are past the point of staying silent. That we are a people who learn from the past, not fall into the trappings and failures of the past. But for the rest of this hour, may we all take a breath. Action solidified by heartbreak, grief, and justified anger will still be there when this service is over. But for now, may we give ourselves permission to breathe, to hold on to one another, and remember that the arc of the universe is long, but it does bend toward justice. So let us pray. Comfort us in our complicated grief, O movement that strives for a loving way. Remind us of our shared humanity and that we are united with all other living beings on this precious planet, on the edge of a galaxy among millions of galaxies. Empower us to love our neighbors and those who curse us. Open our hearts to the healing we need. Open our country's heart to the healing we need. Open our enemies' hearts to the healing they need. May we be more than our worst thoughts. May we be the radical love we proclaim we are. May we know that love can heal us, all of us, if we act with compassion, if we offer grace. Oh, movement towards love, work through us for a world where the least is not kept down so others may trample on them, where violence is not celebrated and perpetuated through hatred and division. Please, dear God of many names, hear this prayer. Work in our hearts, be on our lips and in our actions. May we be in your loving movement always. Amen. And now as I ring our temple bell, let us share in a moment of silence together.
Thank you, Brandon. Our reading this morning comes from Philip Moffat, writing on the Buddhist practice of intention. With goals, the future is always the focus. Are you going to reach the goal? Will you be happy when you do? What's next? Setting intention, at least according to Buddhist teachings, is quite different than goal making. It is not oriented toward a future outcome. Instead, it is a path or practice that is focused on how you are being in the present. Goals help you make your place in the world and be an effective person. But being grounded in intention is what provides integrity and unity in your life. What would it be like if you didn't measure the success of your life just by what you get or don't get, but gave equal or greater priority to how you are aligned with your deepest values? Please remain seated to sing Find a Stillness, verse number 2, in song number 352 in the Gray Hymnal.
Seek the essence, hold the essence, let the essence carry me. Let me flower, help me flower, watch me flower, carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power, I will find true harmony.
I have never been a fan of New Year's resolutions. I often find myself in the 91% of people who are not able to make it through the year. But if I'm being honest, I'm probably in the 23% of people who don't make it through the first week of the new year. And inevitably, the spiral of self-doubt and failure takes hold, which makes it even more difficult to try to get back into the resolutions that I set. There are innumerable reasons why we struggle with maintaining the drive and determination to stick with New Year's resolutions. We don't actually have the resources that we need. We don't have the time or energy to keep our motivation going strong. Or maybe we set resolutions that we think are expected of us, but we don't really believe in. So if the success rate of setting and sustaining resolutions is so low, why do we keep doing it? Now, it turns out that New Year's resolutions aren't a modern invention. Historians can actually take the idea and concept of resolutions back to 2000 BC with the Babylonians, who celebrated the arrival of farming season by resolving to return neighbors' borrowed agricultural equipment and pay their debts. In 46 BC, ancient Romans combined the beginning of their new year with their belief in the god Janus, who they believed inhabited doorways and arches, therefore symbolically looking backwards into the previous year and ahead into the future. In honor of Janus, Romans made promises of good conduct for the coming year. In more modern times, newspaper articles highlight various people's resolutions. Like in 1900, a Georgia woman resolved to stay at home more. And in 1914, a Texan swore, "This is my last cigarette for the year." In 1947, a Gallup poll found that the most common New Year's resolutions included being more efficient and prompt, stopping smoking, and saving more money. As we can see, New Year's resolutions haven't changed all that much in the 4,000 years of documented history. Is it any wonder that only 9% of people can actually stick with the resolutions that they make on January 1st, if the process and goal hasn't really changed? Recently, I was talking with my therapist about my dislike of New Year's resolutions and how unsuccessful I have always been at following through with the goals I established for myself. And my therapist asked me my favorite and most despised question: why do you think that is? I shared how I usually set the same goal, that I will stop doing a bad habit that I've had since I was a child, and how the first time I find myself doing that habit in the new year, the negative voice in my head, which I've previously shared before is named Ted, starts telling me what a failure I am. How if I truly wanted to fix this perceived problem, I would be able to. And I certainly wouldn't have failed this quickly. Then I got to the next best and worst therapy question. So why do you keep doing the same thing? Why do we keep doing the same thing over and over when it's clear that the results don't change? Why do we continue to make promises to ourselves in ways that aren't that much different than what the Babylonians did 4,000 years ago? So what would it look like if we tried something new? If we set intentions rather than resolutions? Intentions get to our core values. They ask us to look deeply at what we believe, who we are in our souls, and evaluate if our actions and words line up with those core values. By their nature, intentions are broad. Because they invite us to look more deeply at our core values, we don't set a specific end point that we will either reach or not. Intentions provide room for growing and changing, adapting to our life circumstances as they also change and evolve throughout the year. On the other hand, resolutions tend to be more specific. They don't necessarily require us to dive deeper and determine if the thing we're trying to do aligns with the bigger picture of what we want to do, change, or accomplish. And they usually have a yes, I did the thing, or no, I didn't outcome. So for example, one of the intentions that I have set for this year is to become more independent. My marriage of 10 years has ended, and I moved in with my parents several months ago, so independence is something that feels kind of important to me right now. One of my core beliefs that drives this intention is that we are all capable of more than we believe we are. Throughout this year, I plan to examine my own internal barriers that prevent me from seeing that within myself. Within the intention of becoming and feeling more independent, I have the opportunity to explore what that means for me and set goals that are flexible enough to shift and mold to whatever my life circumstances may be over this year. Setting a resolution of being able to live on my own this year might not be achievable given incredibly high rent prices, but rebuilding my savings, being open to doing things outside of my comfort zone, and continuing to dissect the cornucopia of emotions and feelings that arise during life transitions are all achievable, flexible goals that can lead me towards feeling more independent. So unlike setting New Year's resolutions, setting intentions is not something that we can do on the fly. It requires us to take a long, deep look at ourselves, what we hold as important to our continued growth as human beings, and identify any barriers that may be preventing us from more fully living into that value. Through my own process of figuring out what I want to focus on in 2026, I've discovered that there are several barriers that tend to stand in between me and the person I want to continue growing into. When those barriers show up, they tend to be in the form of negative beliefs I have in myself, or things I don't think I can do, which kind of feels like I'm therefore on the right track on what I'm picking as an intention for the year. But the roadblocks also tell me that if I want to, say, feel more independent, I'm going to have to commit to tearing down the barriers brick by brick, which I know is not going to be easy, and it's going to take my full commitment. And when it's especially hard, I'm going to have to be mindful about how I talk to myself so I don't start adding those bricks back into place. But I've decided to stop letting those barriers stay up, blocking my path toward the person that I know I am, which is where rituals like today's come into play. In a few minutes, we're going to invite you to come forward and participate in our fire communion ritual. There are 2 tables up front with 2 options. On the outsides of each table, you will see a candle and what is called flash paper. If you've ever seen a magician make something disappear in a flash of light, they probably use something like this. When you come forward, I invite you to consider what intentions you may want to set for 2026. Then consider what barriers might be in your way. When you come forward, symbolically put that barrier on the paper, put the paper in the flame, and drop it into the metal bowl. For anyone who may not feel comfortable with this ritual, you may either ask one of us up here to light the paper for you, or you can participate in the ritual that is on the insides of the tables. Here, you will go through the same process. However, this time, as you name your barrier, place it on the paper, you will drop it into the water. We'll give it a good stir and then watch what happens. For those of you joining us online or watching the video recording later, I encourage you to write down your barrier, sit with it, and then tear it into pieces, put it through a shredder, cut it up with scissors, whatever feels right to you. This is a ritual that any of us can do throughout the year as we continue to run into those walls, which we will. But I hope you will remember what it feels like to make that barrier go up in smoke, or go through the shredder, or dissolve into the water. We are all capable of more than we give ourselves credit for. We don't have to keep doing the same things over and over, especially if they aren't working. It might feel a little silly, but I invite all of us to take some time as we enter into another new year and think about what values are important to us, and then set an intention for yourself. Our brains and this world can do one hell of a job tearing us down, trying to convince us that we don't matter, what we value doesn't matter, that we can't change. And while destroying a piece of paper isn't going to make those barriers completely collapse in on themselves or make the world always feel like a better place, research has shown that the process of actually writing down and destroying those negative thoughts does help lessen the impact they have on our mental health. So, as we come forward to begin this process, May this ritual remind us that we are all capable of more than we give ourselves credit for. And we don't have to do the same things over and over if they do not meet our needs. We just need to give ourselves the time and flexibility to try. Amen. Blessed be. And may we come forward to start the process of releasing what it is that is holding us back. Thank you all for participating with us on that. So I invite you now to rise in body or in spirit and sing hymn number 1028 in your teal hymnal, Fire of Commitment.
From the light of days remembered burns a beacon bright and clear, guiding hands and hearts and spirits into faith set free from fear. When the fire of commitment sets our minds and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the stories of our living rings a song both brave and free, calling pilgrims still to witness to the life of liberty. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the dreams of youthful vision comes a new prophetic voice, which demands a deeper justice built by our courageous choice. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin.
I invite you now to take the hands of the people beside you, or if you're not comfortable, you can use your elbows or put your hands over your heart as we share in our benediction, which comes from Louis Van Leer. Having let go, set our intentions, named our curiosity, committed our energies, and given ourselves over to lives of balance, purpose, and meaning, let us begin again in love. And now let us extinguish our chalice together. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of vision. As we go forth, let us heal and transform ourselves and our world through reason and love.